So we've got some stuff in store for today. We've got the Kai allegation, though they're not, are they really allegations against her? Alright, we're just talking about the alleged age play that was taking place while she was dating Mr. Tom. Okay? Because, as I believe that some of you know, a streamer by the name of Aiden Underground, or he revealed that Liam Donovan lyrics told him that Kai was basically age playing with Liam, with Tom. Alright, they were doing weird little girl role plays in the bed. That's basically what was revealed. Alright, and that's a little weird, but two grown people doing whatever they want to do. Who cares? Alright, it's just a little odd. Some guy, alright, Tom, who makes fun of losers and pedos and creeps, is doing a weird age play role play with some girl. That's kind of suspicious, guys, if I have to say. He's like, I hate these creeps and these losers, I hate them, but I'm gonna be doing weird age play. I'm gonna be hitting people in the bed. That's what I'm gonna be doing, but I'm gonna call them out for their age play and their weird stuff. So that's what I think of Tom there. But what's more important right now is Kai, alright, has released this document. She's released this document that exposes, I'm gonna be honest, I seen a little bit of this earlier, bro. She ain't expose nothing. Alright, she's just talking. She's just making her little statement because people are saying her name, they're bringing her up. That's what this is. That's basically all this is. But I'm still gonna read it because, I feel entitled to. Alright, I wasn't expecting this to come out. I don't think anybody was. Because she's been silent, alright, for the past, 2 years she has been silent. She has not said a single thing about anything that's happened. She has not revealed anything at all. Alright, she's been with Liam. She's just been keeping her head down, not letting us in on the details, not letting us know about the cucking, not letting us know about this stuff. But now, alright, we finally have a little something. We finally have a statement from her. So we're going to be reading it. So it starts out, alright, my name is Caitlin/Kai, and I dated Turkey Tom on and off between August 2020 and November 2023. So it was on and off. It wasn't like 3 consecutive years. Alright. And she was 17 to 20 to 21, that age, for about 3 years total. Here are a couple pictures of us together that I didn't think I've posted previously, but regardless, you can see we are the same person based on this recent photo of me. So that's her and Tom. And this one is the recent one, I think. Yeah, that's the same person. Okay, we know. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, this is something I really thought I would never have to respond to. I spent over 2 years going out of my way to avoid addressing any of the claims made about me or my relationship. I even privated all my social media for a very long time because I've never wanted to be a spectacle for people to poke and at intimate details of my life for their own entertainment. Given recent events, however, I feel a sense of responsibility to say something. Alright, she's speaking up because things have happened. Alright, I sincerely thought she was never going to say anything, to be honest. But now she has. And that's crazy. Alright, we have to talk about this. This is very important to people who are jobless like me, who have nothing going on. Very important to me and such people. She says, Tom and I had a very mutually toxic relationship, and yes, we both cheated on each other online. Oh. So, I think this is where, I remember there was a drama. Alright, Tom was like, cheating isn't that bad. Who cares about cheating? Alright, if you're not getting cheated on, you're lying. He basically said something like that. He said something a little less, expressive than what I just said, but he said something like that. And people are going nuts over this, alright? the dweebs and emo females in his audience, emo girls in his audience were going crazy over that statement. But nevertheless, I feel like this is where this stemmed from, this statement right here. Alright, this behavior isn't good from either of us, but are private matters that don't in any way deserve to be blasted on the internet by me, and I would never feel the need to put that out in the world by my own choice. Unfortunately, it's been made public against either of our wishes, so I thought I should just acknowledge it. Now, to give my experience with Tom in relation to the serious allegations being made by former partners, there is a lot of information being shared that I find to be extremely unnecessary, with the driving motivator to humiliate him. And this is true. This is just true. Alright, they're digging at him because he was a messed up guy. He's doing weird stuff, if I'm being honest. But it's just weird, alright? You can't really say he's a bad person. Like, you don't want to date this dude, but if you knew him, he was your friend, you wouldn't really care. I mean, okay, wait. if it was your friend, you probably would care. But as a dude making Kiwi Farms thread reading slop, you just wouldn't care. You just watch his videos because he's not taking your precious time with his ads and his sponsors. He's not doing that and doing terrible, horrible things to people with it. He's not grooming and raping, but he is doing fucked up stuff. I find this behavior to be abhorrent and will not address any minor anecdote about him that doesn't carry emotional relevance. I really need to stress that this is just my experience, and he may have acted differently with the girls who he was involved with after me. I am not undermining anyone's experiences and don't wish to speculate on their credibility. I will directly reply to him as a partner overall in that. And in regards to recording sexual encounters, the first time we did record anything, it was either with explicit permission beforehand or an established consent based on previous conversations in our long-term relationship. It really wasn't a frequent thing that happened, mostly before we started living together and were long distance. So this I understand, yeah. There are a lot of things we did where I look back and shake my head because my standards for myself have really changed so much since then, but everything was always consensual between us. Okay, so she makes that clear, and no one else really alleged unconsensual stuff besides, he did things that were kind of messed up, but they were like, okay. They were just getting beaten, and they were like, ow! Okay, that was basically the women in these situations. That was them. After they got, like, totally rammed by his big fists. But there were a few instances where I became uncomfortable with an encounter, and he was understanding it would not continue after I voiced discomfort. I don't think this is an allegation being made about him, but I wanted to stress that nothing in the bedroom that was rough or aggressive ever translated to domestic interactions. There are a lot of negative things to say about Tom, but he was always surprisingly patient and never did so much as yell at me. I never once felt fearful of him when he was angry, the entire time we were in a relationship, which included living together for over 6 months. There's been a message circulating claiming that Tom and I participated in AGEPLAY, so she addresses it here. Alright, this is the most important thing in this document. All the other stuff, who cares? Genuinely, who cares about the other stuff, bro? This is the meat and potatoes. This is what we're here for. This nice big paragraph right here, alright? So she claims they never participated in AGEPLAY, which is just a blatant twisting of the truth. Tom definitely romanticizes power dynamics and heavy dom sub stuff, but that was never expressed through age-related dynamic role-playing. It's clear he has a type for Sanrio mentally ill e-girls, but I just can't say from my experience that it was ever pedophilic in nature. The person I knew between the years of 2020 and 2023 was not into those things. Anything after that, I wouldn't know. So she makes it clear she doesn't know if he's into the AGEPLAY, or she doesn't know if he likes little girls. She doesn't know about that, but what she does know is He's definitely into some power dynamic stuff, and maybe that has blossomed into this AGEPLAY thing. We don't even know if the AGEPLAY is like confirmed. You don't really know, but he has said some stuff, or he has said, "You look like a 15-year-old girl." He has said things like that with people he's dated in the past. All right, but at the core of it, we really don't know if he's into it. But I would lean towards it. I would lean towards it if I'm being honest. That's just my opinion, though. We don't know until he says anything about it, and even if he is, it's a little weird. All right, it's very weird. Okay, it's very very weird. All right, but realistically, who cares, bro? Who cares? All right, except all his buddies who are like, "Oh, pedo stuff. Lolly's so bad," and it is bad. All right, I think it's bad. In my personal opinion, if my friend was like looking at Lolly shit and he was being a weird little pedo, I wouldn't want to be his friend. All right, I wouldn't want to be his friend. But they do get a little bit, deranged over some of this little girl, Lolly stuff. They do, disassociate with people. They do burn them over this stuff. In the Nicholas Diorio and Turkey Tom, not Turkey Tom or RC community, okay. And I love those guys. I love Augie. All right, I love Augie. I don't love those guys. I have to be clear. I like Augie. I don't love those other guys. I hate Nicholas Diorio. I hate him. Just to make that clear. All right, but they do have this thing where they do kind of overreact to this stuff. All right. What Tipster did, it wasn't that bad. Okay, let's just be honest. They would have to disassociate with Tom over this AGEPLAY stuff if it comes out. So we have to figure this out, alright? We have to figure it out. So it is true that Tom has a blackmail folder on me consisting of phone recordings and text messages. I've known about it for a very long time because he told me. We were messy as fuck, okay? I have never had any intentions of speaking out about him publicly, but I did decide to be evil after one time we broke up and tell him I was going to ruin his career because he was ignoring me, and I knew it would freak him out. So, yeah, I get his concern, even though I've clarified a million times that I would never do that. This was extremely shitty of me, and I'm really embarrassed to admit it publicly, but without this context, it looks worse than it is. I do not feel fearful at all about him leaking anything private relating to me in response because I think I've been very respectful, along with everything being the truth. Okay, so this is about the blackmail folder, alright? The Turkey Tom, if you expose me, I'm gonna own you folder. That's basically what this is. He's got it stored on his computer just in case. Just in case you rape me, I'm gonna rape you. That's his mindset. Alright? Very Death Note, massive egoist destruction mindset, okay? Very cringe, very cringe. But we're gonna finish this up, alright? Overall, Tom as a person is extremely flawed, and I'm disappointed to see he is still generally self-centered around sex as an act. Our relationship really fucked me up for a while, and certain things still affect me negatively from it. According to what some have said, it goes both ways. Most of the things that hurt me about our relationship don't have much crossover with what other people have said about him, so I feel relieved that I can still maintain some privacy in a sense. We literally met as minors, and it's still the longest relationship I've been in. They were literally minors, bro. I was freshly 18 when I entered this relationship. But yeah, that is, that changes things a little bit, in terms of this relationship. Nothing else really. She's happy she doesn't have to just dump everything because she knows Tom might release that folder. But she says she's not scared of it. If someone had a blackmail folder on me, bro, I'd be scared of them releasing it. Just saying. Not even if I did anything bad, bro, but we were talking in private, you got that, you're gonna own me? That's messed up. It's a little messed up, and that usually indicates that you've done some bad stuff, alright, if you have a blackmail folder. If you need to have one, that usually indicates something. Alright, you don't date someone for 3+ years if you think they are an irredeemable piece of shit. I've never known him to be a person capable of these things, but everyone who has spoken up about him has been with after we broke up, so I just couldn't know. As sad and angry as he's made me feel, I've never thought him to be heartless or sadistically cruel, just someone that has a lot of issues. Okay, I think it's fair. Alright, she's probably the one that knows him the most in this whole situation, if we're being honest. All I have is my own experience to use as my guide for what I think is true, but others shouldn't take it as gospel above someone else's testimony. I apologize for my brevity as I only want to give pointed answers to avoid relaying intimate details about my life with an ex. I do not want to come across like I'm exposing Turkey Tom. I just felt morally inclined to share my experience about certain things since people have been wanting to specifically hear what I had to say. I don't think there's any need for follow-up. I've said everything I wish to comment on. I hope I can just go about my life without this constantly coming up because we've been broken up for so long now. Okay, so I think the book has finally been closed on all the Kai stuff. I feel like we've addressed most of the things. She came out, she's said her piece. Something that I don't think anyone expected because she's been so quiet about this. But, I guess now she's finally been like, yeah, I'll say what I have to because, this guy used to know he's getting shit on, so I gotta say my piece. And I think that's pretty reasonable. And I'm glad we finally have something from her, okay? Because we've heard about the chest carving, we've heard about the cheating, we've heard about Tom getting cocked by Liam. We've heard about these things, but it's finally good to hear her side of the story, her opinion. And I've heard, alright, on another person's stream, alright, I'm stealing this information. I've heard that she's planning to start a streaming career, so maybe she's just getting this out the way before she goes on to do her own stuff. So she doesn't have to dress again. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know, but it seems like a likely possibility. But I'm just glad we finally have heard something from her. Alright, we finally have something more than Donovan's screenshots that were like from a year ago. 2 years ago maybe. Alright. I'm finally glad we have something more than that. Okay, she's finally said something. Kai has finally spoken up. Okay. But I think that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Alright, I'm glad I got that little segment done. I'm glad. But now, alright, we have to get into the real topics. Oh wait, we have this, I forgot, bro. This clip. I'm going to play this real quick. So on a call, Queeman Aiden said he'd like to have a talk with Liam Donovan about all of the latest done by Kai and her denial of the AGEPLAY allegations. So she's denied the allegations, and the person who originally exposed this was Aiden. Alright, he said he'd like to have a talk with Loam. So I'm going to play this clip real quick.
Aiden,
What's up?
have you heard that Kai Joma has dropped a doc on Tom?
Are you kidding me?
No, it says nothing. It seems like the only reason she's put this out is to deny the AGEPLAY allegations. So what say you?
Well, Lyrics tried to call me about this a few days ago, and I didn't pick up because I was preoccupied.
I think that should happen on stream. I think that conversation should be.
Yeah, for sure. I think that when I come back, I'll be back in like what? Is it 2 days? Like 2 days or something.
Awesome.
Basically, I'll let him call in.
Okay, so Aiden wants to have a public conversation about this. He wants Liam to speak to him publicly about the screenshot that he's let out. Alright. Aiden has exposed the words of Liam during a private call. He's like, bro, she age plays. She pretends to be a little girl while we're in the fucking bed, bro. And she left me for Tom again. Because essentially this happened, like, after she went back to Tom. That's when Lone was on this call talking to Aiden, being like, bro, I'm so mad. Alright, I'm gonna admit this. Alright, she likes to age play in the bed. She's so weird. So he's talking shit to Aiden while Aiden's playing some Warzone or whatever. And that is basically where this comes from. This at least the Kai part of the age play allegations, rather than the other things that the other girl said. That's where this specific part comes from. But that's it for the Kai document, the Kai section. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Okay?